Can you believe that a wife can throw at her husband, like, "Marriage to you makes me miserable. You're dragging down my prime years," after her husband's 12-hour shift, and instead of arguing, begging, or trying harder, he did something much quieter. He simply stopped being the man she kept complaining about. Welcome back. Tonight's story is about emotional contempt, impossible expectations, and what happens when someone realizes they are being punished for not becoming a fantasy version of themselves. This is an original story written and developed by me for entertainment purposes. Names, characters, places, and events have been created or changed. Any resemblance to real people or real situations is purely coincidental. AI was used to assist with language polishing and voice production, but the writing, structure, and creative direction are human.
My wife, Raven, 31F, told me last Tuesday that marriage to you makes me miserable and that I'm dragging down her quality of life. So I decided to give her exactly what she wants, a life without me as her husband. I'm Atlas, 34M, been married to Raven for 4 years. I work as a civil engineer. She's in marketing. For the past year, she's been on this kick where every conversation somehow circles back to how disappointed she is with our marriage, how her friends seem happier, how she thought marriage would be different, how I don't meet her expectations. Last Tuesday was the breaking point. I came home from a brutal 12-hour day dealing with a bridge inspection crisis, and she launched into her usual complaints. But this time, she said it plain. Marriage to you makes me miserable. I feel like I'm wasting my prime years. I looked at her for a long moment and said, "Okay, I hear you loud and clear." "Okay, what?" "If being married to me makes you miserable, then I won't be your husband anymore. Problem solved." She laughed like I'd made a joke. "What's that supposed to mean?" "It means I'm taking you at your word. Starting now, I'm not your husband. I'm just Atlas, the guy who happens to live here." So Wednesday morning, I woke up and did something I hadn't done in 4 years. I opened my own bank account, walked into the branch during lunch, moved my direct deposit, and suddenly my paycheck wasn't flowing into our joint account anymore. When Raven asked why I was getting mail from a different bank, I told her roommates don't typically share checking accounts. That same week, I stopped doing all the little husband things I'd been doing on autopilot for years. The garbage disposal started making that grinding noise it makes when something's stuck. Not my problem anymore. She can call a plumber or figure it out herself. The landlord sent some notice about the HVAC inspection. I forwarded it to her with a note saying FUII, tenant stuff. The weirdest part was how automatic it had all become. I'd been carrying this mental load of our entire household without even realizing it. Suddenly I wasn't thinking about whether we needed milk, or if the electric bill was due, or whether her work stress was affecting her mood. I just existed in my own space. By Friday, she started noticing. I made myself dinner, just enough for one, and sat down to eat while she rummaged around the kitchen looking confused. "Where's mine?" she asked. I looked at her like she'd asked me why I hadn't made dinner for the mailman. "You're not my wife anymore, remember? Make your own food." The sleeping arrangement changed naturally too. I'd been walking on eggshells for months, trying not to disturb her sleep schedule, matching her bedtime even when I wasn't tired. That first night, I just stayed up watching TV until I was actually sleepy, then went to bed without checking if it was okay with her. She kept the guest room after that. It's strange how much mental energy gets freed up when you stop managing someone else's emotional landscape. I wasn't planning date nights she'd find disappointing, or trying to decode whether her quiet mood meant I'd done something wrong, or wondering if she wanted to talk about her day or be left alone. I just lived my life and let her live hers. The first few days, she thought I was having some kind of breakdown. She kept asking when I was going to stop this childish behavior and start acting like a husband again. I told her, "You said marriage to me makes you miserable. I'm not your husband anymore. You're free to be as happy as you want." By Friday, reality started hitting. She came home to find me eating dinner, just enough for one person. She asked where her plate was. "I made dinner for myself." "You're not my wife anymore, remember? Make your own." "Atlas, this is ridiculous." "No, it's logical. You can't complain about being married to me and then expect all the benefits of being married to me. The panic started setting in when she realized I wasn't joking around. Saturday morning, she asked me to help move some furniture, and I said, "Sorry, I don't husband favors anymore. You might want to call someone who cares about your life quality." Sunday night, she tried a different approach, sat down next to me while I was watching football and started talking about how we should work on our communication. I paused the game and looked at her. "Raven, you've told me for months that marriage to me is ruining your life." I finally listened. "This is me giving you what you want, a life where Atlas the husband doesn't exist. If you want something different, you need to figure out what that is." She's been sleeping in the guest room since Tuesday. I've been sleeping better than I have in months. My brother Crew thinks this is the best thing I've ever done. "Dude, she's been taking you for granted for years. Let her see what life looks like without all the shit you do." Here's the thing, I'm not doing this to be petty or to hurt her. I'm doing it because I finally realized she was right. Marriage to me was making her miserable, and I was making myself miserable, trying to be enough for someone who genuinely didn't want to be married to me. The weirdest part is how much lighter I feel. For the first time in months, I'm not walking on eggshells or trying to anticipate her next complaint. I come home, do what I want, and don't worry about whether it meets her standards. She keeps asking when I'm going to stop this, and I keep telling her the same thing. "You got exactly what you asked for." This morning she said, "Fine, if this is how you want to be, maybe we should just get divorced." I said, "That's your call. I'm not your husband anymore either way." The look on her face was something else. Like she finally understood this isn't a game or a tantrum. This is me taking her words seriously and acting accordingly. She's been texting me all day, asking if we can talk tonight. I told her I'll be at the gym, then probably grabbing drinks with Crew. She can talk to Atlas the roommate when I get back, but Atlas the husband clocked out last Tuesday. I've got a feeling tonight's conversation is going to be very interesting. So that conversation last Tuesday night went about how you'd expect. I got back from the gym around 9 p.m. and found Raven sitting at the kitchen table with her laptop open, surrounded by papers. She'd been crying. "We need to talk," she said. "All right, what's up?" "I've been trying to figure out our finances, and I can't make the numbers work." I sat down across from her. "What do you mean?" "The rent is $2,200. My take-home is $3,100. After rent, car payment, insurance, and student loans, I have like $400 left for everything else. Food, gas, utilities, savings. That's impossible." "Sounds like a tough situation. Atlas, be serious. How am I supposed to live on $400 a month? The same way single people live, I guess. Get a roommate, find a cheaper place, pick up a side hustle. People figure it out." She stared at me like I'd suggested she move to Mars. "Are you insane? This is our apartment. We have a lease." "We have a lease, but you and I aren't a we anymore. You made that pretty clear. The lease has both our names on it, so we're both responsible for the rent until it expires. How you cover your half is up to you." That's when it hit her. For 4 years, I'd been covering about 70% of our household expenses because I make more. She'd been living like someone with a $5,000 budget on a $3,100 salary because I was subsidizing the difference. This is insane, Atlas. Married couples share expenses. Exactly. But we're not married anymore, remember? You're just Raven who happens to live here. Raven can pay her own way. She started crying again. You're being deliberately cruel. No, I'm being logical. For months, you've told me marriage to me makes your life worse. So, I removed marriage from the equation. Now you get to see what life looks like without a husband. The next morning, I woke up to find she'd made a list of everything I handle around the apartment. It was 2 pages long. Maintenance stuff, dealing with the landlord, fixing the garbage disposal, unclogging drains, changing air filters, assembling furniture, mounting TVs and shelves. Administrative stuff, managing our internet label account, scheduling service appointments, dealing with package deliveries, handling renters insurance. Daily stuff, taking out trash, buying household supplies, grocery shopping for staples, cooking most dinners, loading, running the dishwasher. Financial stuff, paying utilities, managing our joint savings, filing taxes, dealing with any banking issues. I never realized you did all this, she said, showing me the list. Because you never had to think about it. That's what husbands do. We handle shit so our wives don't have to worry about it. So you're just going to stop doing everything? I'm going to stop doing husband things, yeah. If the Wi-Fi goes out, call Comcast yourself. If the sink clogs, call a plumber or figure it out. If you want groceries, go shopping. I'll handle my own needs. She looked at the list again. This is ridiculous. These are just life things, adult responsibilities. Exactly. Well, welcome to being a single adult. By Thursday, reality was setting in hard. The bathroom sink had been draining slowly for weeks. I'd been meaning to fix it, but now I just use the kitchen sink. She finally called the landlord, who told her minor maintenance is the tenant's responsibility. She texted me, "Can you please just look at the bathroom sink? I'll pay you." I texted back, "Sorry, I don't do handyman work for roommates. Try YouTube or call a plumber." Friday night, she came home with groceries for the first time in months. Real shopping, not just wine and snacks. She spent 2 hours figuring out meal planning and had a breakdown in the kitchen because she realized she didn't know how to cook half the stuff she bought. Saturday, I was making breakfast and she asked if I could make extra. "I'm making enough for one person," I told her. "Come on, Atlas, it's just eggs. And I'm just making them for myself. You want breakfast, make breakfast." That's when my brother Crew stopped by and witnessed her meltdown. "This is insane," she yelled. "He's treating me like a stranger. We live together." Crew looked at her calmly. "Didn't you tell him marriage makes you miserable?" "That doesn't mean I wanted him to stop being a partner." Actually, that's exactly what it means. You can't spend months shitting on someone and then expect to keep giving you everything you want. "But we're married." You told him that marriage was ruining your life. So he stopped being married to you. Makes perfect sense to me. She looked between us like we were crazy. "You guys are acting like this is normal." "Raven," Crew said, "my wife has never once told me that being married to me makes her miserable. You want to know why? Because she actually wants to be married to me. Maybe figure out what you actually want before complaining about what you have." After Crew left, she tried a different approach. Started being super nice, asking about my day, complimenting my cooking when she could smell it from the living room. "You seem happier lately," she said, Sunday night. "I am happier." Turns out when you stop trying to make someone happy who doesn't want to be married to you, you have a lot more mental energy for your own life. I never said I didn't want to be married to you. You said marriage to me makes you miserable. Same thing. Last night, she asked if I wanted to watch a movie together. Why would I do that? Because we used to enjoy spending time together. That was when we were married. We're not anymore. She's been reaching out to her sister Sienna, who apparently told her she needs to figure out what she actually wants because this situation is embarrassing. I've been sleeping amazing, eating whatever I want. Hit the gym 5 times this week. Started that woodworking project I'd been putting off. Booked a weekend fishing trip with Crew next month without having to check anyone's calendar or deal with complaints about abandoning her. Tomorrow, we're supposed to meet with a marriage counselor she booked. I told her I'd go, but I'm not going as her husband trying to save a marriage. I'm going as Atlas, the guy she lives with, who wants to understand what exactly she's looking for. This should be fun. Just got back from the counseling session an hour ago, and honestly, I feel like I've been living in the Twilight Zone for months. Dr. Logan Mills was the counselor Raven found. Seemed like a decent guy, maybe mid-40s, had this calm energy that made you want to trust him right away. Started off pretty standard, asked us each to explain why we were there. Raven went first. "My husband is refusing to act like we're married. He's treating me like a stranger, not contributing to our household, being deliberately cruel and withholding. I don't understand why he's punishing me." Dr. Mills turned to me. "Atlas, how would you describe the situation? My wife told me repeatedly that marriage to me makes her miserable and ruins her quality of life, so I stopped being her husband. She's getting exactly what she asked for." "When you say she told you marriage makes her miserable, can you be more specific?" I pulled out my phone. I started keeping track about 2 months ago. Let me read some direct quotes. Raven's face went white. She didn't know I'd been documenting. March 15th. "Marriage is nothing like I thought it would be. I feel like I'm wasting my life." March 23rd. My friends are having adventures, and I'm stuck in this boring routine. April 2nd. I don't think you understand what I need from a partner. April 18th. Sometimes I wonder what my life would look like if I hadn't gotten married so young. Dr. Mills was taking notes. Go on. April 30th. I feel like marriage has trapped me. May 8th. You don't seem to care about my happiness. And the final one, May 14th. Marriage to you makes me miserable. I feel like I'm wasting my prime years. You've been recording our private conversations? Raven asked. No, I've been documenting your complaints because they were becoming constant, and I wanted to understand what you actually wanted from me. Dr. Mills looked at Raven. These are accurate quotes? She shifted uncomfortably. I mean, I was expressing frustration, but I didn't mean... You didn't mean what? You said marriage to me makes you miserable. You said you feel like you're wasting your life. What part of that was unclear? I was venting. I didn't mean I wanted you to stop being my husband. Dr. Mills leaned forward. Raven, what did you think the outcome would be if you repeatedly told your husband that marriage makes you miserable? I thought he'd... I don't know, try harder? Plan more dates? Be more romantic? Show me he cared about making me happy? So you were expressing dissatisfaction in hopes of prompting behavior change? I guess, yes. And Atlas, when you heard these statements, what did you interpret them to mean? That she didn't want to be married to me. Pretty straightforward, Doctor. Mills nodded. Raven, I need to ask you directly. Do you want to be married to Atlas? Long pause. I want to be married to someone who makes me feel excited about life. That's not what I asked. Do you want to be married to Atlas specifically? Another pause. I want to be married to the person Atlas could become if he put more effort in. I felt something click into place. There it is. What? She asked. You don't want to be married to me. You want to be married to some imaginary version of me that doesn't exist. You want to be married to someone who isn't me. Dr. Mills was writing rapidly. Atlas, how does that make you feel? Relieved, honestly. For months, I've been trying to figure out what was wrong with me, why I couldn't make her happy. Turns out there's nothing wrong with me. She just doesn't want to be married to the person I actually am. That's not fair, Raven said. People grow and change in marriages. Growth is different from fundamental personality replacement, Dr. Mills said gently. Atlas, can you describe how you've been feeling in the marriage? Like I'm failing a test I was never given the study guide for. Like nothing I do is right because I'm not the person she wishes she'd married in the first place. And how do you feel now, since you stopped being her husband? Like myself again, I sleep better. I enjoy my hobbies. I'm not constantly analyzing every interaction to see if I've disappointed her. I remember why I actually like my life. Raven started crying. So that's it? You're just giving up on us? Raven, I said, there is no us. There's you, who wants to be married to someone I'm not. And there's me, who's tired of pretending to be someone I'm not. Those aren't compatible things. Dr. Mills looked at both of us. I'm going to be direct here. Raven, you've been communicating dissatisfaction in a way that damages the relationship foundation than expecting your partner to become someone different to fix it. Atlas, you've responded by withdrawing completely rather than communicating your own needs. What would you have done? I asked him. If someone told you repeatedly that being married to you was ruining their life. I would have suggested counseling much sooner, but I understand your response. No one should have to endure constant criticism about their fundamental adequacy as a partner. He turned to Raven. And you need to understand that you can't express contempt for your marriage and then expect your partner to keep investing in it emotionally. So what now? She asked. Now you both decide what you actually want, Dr. Mills said. Raven, do you want to be married to Atlas as he is, or do you want to be married to someone else? Atlas, are you willing to rebuild a relationship with someone who spent months expressing dissatisfaction with who you are? I looked at Raven. Here's my answer. I'm not going back to being your husband while you figure out if I'm good enough for you. If you want to be married to me, actually me, not some improved version you have in mind, then you need to say that clearly. Otherwise, we can be friendly roommates until our lease is up and then go our separate ways. That's an ultimatum. No, that's clarity. I'm done living in limbo while you decide if I'm worth your time. We scheduled a follow-up session for next week, but honestly, I think we both know where this is headed. On the drive home, she asked, "What if I told you I want to be married to you, exactly as you are?" I'd say prove it with actions, not words. Words are what got us here. When we got home, I went to the garage to work on my woodworking project. She went to her sister Sienna's house. Sienna texted me later. "She's been complaining about you for months." I told her she sounds miserable and should either fix it or leave. Didn't realize you'd already made that choice for her. I'm sleeping better than I have in years. Tomorrow, I'm looking at some apartments, just to see what's available when our lease is up in August. Last Monday, Raven and I had what ended up being our final conversation as a married couple. She came home from work looking like she'd been crying in her car again and found me packing tools in the garage. "So you're really doing this? You're just walking away from our marriage?" I stopped what I was doing and looked at her. "Raven, I asked you one question 2 weeks ago. Do you want to be married to me, exactly as I am, or do you want to be married to someone else? What's your answer?" "I want to be married to you." That's not what I asked. "Do you want to be married to me exactly as I am right now, with no expectation that I'll become different?" Long pause. "I think we could both grow?" Stop. That's your answer. You want to be married to future me, improved me, different me. That's not the same thing as wanting to be married to me. Why is this so black and white for you? Because I spent 4 years trying to be enough for someone who fundamentally doesn't want to be married to the person I am. I'm done with that. She sat down on my workbench. "I never said I didn't want to be married to you. You said marriage to me makes you miserable. You said you feel like you're wasting your prime years. You said you wonder what your life would be like if you hadn't gotten married so young. What part of that sounds like someone who wants to be married to me?" I was just frustrated. For months, constantly. About being married to me, specifically. That's when she finally said it. "I love you, but I don't think I'm in love with you anymore. I don't know when that changed." "Thank you," I said. "That's the first honest thing you've said about our relationship in months. So that's it? That's it. You're not in love with me. I'm tired of trying to earn love from someone who doesn't want to give it. We're done." I moved out Thursday. Found a decent one-bedroom about 10 minutes from my job, month-to-month lease, while I figure out what I want long-term. The apartment is smaller, but it's mine. I wake up when I want, eat what I want, make plans without consulting anyone. My brother Crew helped me move and said I look lighter, like I'd been carrying something heavy for years and finally put it down. He was right. Raven's been texting sporadically, mostly logistical stuff about splitting belongings, but yesterday she sent, "I miss talking to you." I didn't respond. Her sister Sienna reached out yesterday. "She's telling everyone you abandoned her without trying to work things out. Thought you should know." I thanked her for the heads up, but honestly, I don't care what story she tells. People who know me know the truth. The divorce papers are filed. Should be final in about 6 weeks since we're doing uncontested with no kids or major assets. Work's been good. My boss noticed I seem more focused lately. I've been staying late to work on this bridge restoration project that's been fascinating me. Turns out, when you're not dreading going home, you have more energy for things you actually care about. Started taking a welding class on Tuesday nights. Always wanted to learn. Never had the time or mental space. Met a woman there, Sarah, who builds custom furniture. We grabbed coffee after class last week and talked about metallurgy for 2 hours. It was the first conversation I've had in years where someone seemed genuinely interested in my thoughts instead of just waiting for their turn to talk. We're going to a fabrication expo this weekend. Not a date, just 2 people who share an interest. But it feels good to talk to someone who doesn't act like spending time with me is a burden they're graciously bearing. I've been sleeping like a rock, eating better. Hit the gym 4 times this week. Started planning a camping trip to Yellowstone in August, something I've wanted to do for years but never could because Raven hates camping. The weirdest thing is how quiet my mind is now. For months, I had this constant background anxiety about whether I was doing enough, being enough, making the right choices to keep her happy. That's just gone.
All right, that's where this story ends. And honestly, in my opinion, the saddest part of this story is not that Raven was unhappy. People can be unhappy. The saddest part is that she kept trying to stay in the marriage while quietly rejecting the actual man she was married to. She did not want Atlas as he was. She wanted a revised version of him, more exciting, more romantic, more cinematic, more aligned with the life she imagined she deserved. And that kind of love is not really love. It is conditional attachment to potential. The lesson here is simple. If someone only wants you after editing you in their head, they do not truly want you. And if you have to keep auditioning inside your own relationship just to feel chosen, then the relationship is already broken in a very deep way. Real partnership is not built on constant dissatisfaction, moving goalposts, or making someone feel like they are always one personality change away from being enough. Real love begins with acceptance. Growth can happen inside love, but love cannot survive where acceptance never existed in the first place. Sometimes the healthiest thing you can do is stop fighting to be enough for someone who is committed to misunderstanding your worth. And sometimes peace does not come from fixing the marriage. It comes from finally stepping out of it. Let me know what you think about this one. Was Atlas right to take her words literally?